turn over to Matthew 19 if you're not already there. And near the end, Matthew 19, verse number 22 is where we left off last week. So we'll start, I think we read a little further, but we'll kind of pick up here. It says there, "But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, Who then can be saved?" I want to stop there for a minute. We've talked about this rich man for a while. We talked 2 different times about verses number 16 through like 22, and we talked about how he had kept all of the law from his birth, and Jesus was like, "Hey, if you do this," he said, let me back up. He said, "How can I go to heaven?" Jesus said, "Do this and this and this." He said, "Done it all, kept all the commandments, I'm good. So what else do I lack?" We talk about the sorrow of that, right? And the idea that this rich man was sad because he had kept everything, but still something inside him knew that wasn't enough. And Jesus said, if you go sell everything you have, then you've got it. There it is. Jesus knew his heart. Jesus knew there was more to it than simply doing all the law. Remember, over in the Sermon on the Mount, took the law past to a spiritual law, right? Where if you look upon a woman with lust in your heart, then you're committing adultery. If you hate your brother, you murder your brother. And if you have a beam in your eye and they have a mote in theirs, you got to take care of yourself first. And so Jesus took it past that. And so anyway, we have here telling him, hey, if you'll just go sell everything you have, follow me. And that's the ultimate thing anyway, isn't it? To follow him. It's not about the keeping of the law as much as it's about following the God of the law, right? And so we talked about that. Now, disciples are standing here in the wings kind of watching what's going on. And Jesus says, a rich man, it's hard for a rich man to go to heaven. Because a rich man goes and buys a car when he wants to. He goes and buys a house when he wants to. He goes and buys, his family's love when he wants to. He goes and buys, off the constable who's pulled him over. I don't know. He buys whatever he wants to when he wants to. And so when God says, I'm going to get what you want, you can't buy, the rich man's going to struggle. Now I'm going to throw you another little loop here that you're probably not used to hearing. Not because Sims is smart, just what the Lord kind of surfaced for me this evening. It says there, when his disciples heard it, they were exceeding amazed, saying, Who then can be saved? What do you think they're focusing on? What he's done. I always thought they were focusing on his money. Because that's what the direct context is, right? A rich man can't go to heaven. It's hard for a rich man to go to heaven. And they're like, well, then who can go to heaven? I'm thinking, well, it must be that money, right? How much money do you think the apostles here have? Themselves? Yeah, probably none. If any, they've got none, right? Somebody's got the bag, and we know he ain't giving none of it up. And so, well, later he spills it out, but that's a different story. But no, they don't have hardly anything. So why are they worried? They're not rich. They don't have all the money in the world. So what are they really focusing on? I believe they're focusing on the whole interaction. There's this young person, or this one came on him and said, I think we have him listed other places, rich young ruler. I could be conflating there. But there's this man comes and says, hey, how can I go to heaven? Jesus says, follow all the law. And he says, I've done that. And Jesus says, well, okay, follow me then. And he says, can't do it. He doesn't actually verbally say that. He actionally says that, and he leaves. I think that's where I don't even know if the disciples have heard the rest of it. Obviously have, they recorded it. But I don't know how much of it they heard. I could get to heaven and God says, you're an idiot. That's fine. But they're not wealthy. I don't know what they're talking about. There's lots of people here that aren't wealthy that can go to heaven if that's the goal, if that's the thing. So who can go to heaven? They think, I can see Peter, who's already said dumb things. Right? And before he followed Jesus, I'm sure he said even dumber things because he didn't have anybody to impress at that point. Remember as well, this still blows my mind, they're probably sub 25, most of them sub 18. Walking around following Jesus. And I'm just thinking, they're probably thinking, if this guy kept all the law, they know in their heart they haven't kept any of it, or at any point in time they've gone against it at some point. Well, how's anybody going to go to heaven? I know me, I know John, I know Peter, I know Matthew, I know the sons of thunder. Even John the Baptist doubted at the end of his life. Right? So how is anybody going to go to heaven? That's what I think. And like I said, you get the evidence wrong. That's fine. I will say this, and I'll get to the answer here in just a minute, because I don't want to leave it behind. Riches are an obstacle to the kingdom. Money. We know that money is the root of all evil, right? I'm glad y'all are smarter than that. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. One person said, money won't make you make a sad man happy, but it can make a happy man happier. I was like, okay. I mean, I can understand his sentiment about that, right? If you can't keep your belly full, but if you already have found happiness outside of money, then add money to it. It's just going to help you that much easier, is what he said. I don't believe it. I know most people that, well, I don't know. But I don't really believe that. But I'll tell you this, money, the pursuit of money, and let's back that up just a little bit, the pursuit of this world's goods cause us trouble in following Christ. I don't know how many times, I'll tell you this community, a lot of drugs in it. I know the houses are $700 million, I understand. But there are a lot of drugs in this community, a lot of drugs in every community since marijuana has been classified as a lower controlled drug than it used to be. And so there's a lot of drugs, a lot of mental health in this community. Some portions of the communities around us are becoming a little bit crime sensitive, crime heavy. And so there's some things going on. One of the things we run into, though, are large houses with full driveways and obviously large debts on the back end. But when people don't see a need, they often don't go to Christ, right? Why should I come to church if I can feel it here? I saw some churches in the area. Boy, howdy, their idea of worship and their idea of being spiritual is interesting, to say the least. And there was a time in my life where I would judge Christians on that, and that time has passed. But it's still not worship. If I have in my youth, I loved grunge rock and roll, and alternative rock and all that stuff when I was an unsaved teenager. I always wanted to go to a concert, never went to one. But I always wanted to go, mosh pitting and things like that and stuff like that. It is loud, but back then I didn't care because I had so much anger in my heart needed to be covered up anyway. And so I wanted to go, never got to go. But I'll tell you what, this worship in some of these churches, it's just a mosh pit. It's just silliness going on in the youth departments and stuff. And there's not really any needs being met in a lot of these places. I'm not saying that their gospel isn't preached, and I'm not saying that their heart is wicked and evil and they just desire to water down everything so that people don't fully follow after Jesus. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that there's a lot of misleading going on in the hearts of the leaders and in the hearts of the followers, and we're not really seeing needs met, and we have a community that doesn't sometimes see their need. We have a nation that doesn't see its need. If you want to know something, the only thing stopping you is your own desire. Right? Every one of you in here can be a genius. Every one of you. All the knowledge for everything is at your fingertips, and you can learn anything you want to learn in the span of a day or two. If I want to pull a motor out of my car, I guarantee you, I can go tomorrow, I can watch a few videos, motor's out. Now, I've done it a few times, so I have that on top of it, but I've had a Haynes and a Chilton's before. I did it for you too, but I hate that I can say that. I'm supposed to be younger than that. But what I am trying to say is that our needs are so little perceived, right? Because if I'm sad, I can go get a pill. If I have an undiagnosed palpitation, they will give me a pill for anxiety. If I'm anxious, I can get a pill. If I cannot control my anger, I'll get a pill. If I need something to eat, I'll have Walmart drop it from a drone. Right? I mean, the perceived need is so small. We are a rich nation. Christians, I hate to tell you this, we are rich Christians. The poorest in here of you are rich Christians. Because I don't see one of y'all don't show up at Dairy Queen with me when it's Dairy Queen night. By the way, we'll go to the one in Forney next time. I didn't really enjoy the one in Crandall. I didn't really enjoy it. So we'll go to the Forney one next time. But y'all are all there. And I always say, like, yeah, I mean, my kid, we grew up poor. I never went to a restaurant growing up. Never once did I remember going to a restaurant growing up. Fast food, rare. I mean, but hot dog sandwich, slice that sucker in half, a little bit of cheese. Had a lot of those, yeah. No mayo. Oh, some beans, yeah, I can do that. 3-day-old biscuits, that was fine too. If you microwave them, they were good. And but yeah, we had a turn-dial microwave, and it was about 100 years old when we got it. I think it's probably why I have no parasites, because standing in front of that microwave growing up. But but the point I'm trying to make is my kids, though, they went out to eat more often than I went out to eat my whole entire life until I got married. Anytime we got money, we can go out to eat. Now, we were poor stewards. That's a different story. We've learned a lot as we've gotten older. But yeah, my kids, even as a poor family, eating ramen and stuff, we were spoiled. You know how many times I was without a vehicle? Never. Without electricity? Mm-mm. Without water? Well, one time I was without electricity because we went out of town, and I paid the bill late because we went out of town and I forgot, but that was only one time. And but God always took care of us. We're spoiled. You know why some of you need counsel and won't get it? You don't see the need. You don't see the need. You've got it. You can figure it out. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. You can go to some therapist, charge $500 an hour, and won't give you the real answer because they want you to come back for another $500. And so I'm not saying they're all malicious that way. I'm not. But I don't know. Maybe they are. But anyway, but I am telling you, we don't. Why is it like pulling teeth to get somebody to see their need of salvation? Because we're a rich nation. Because they don't need it. They don't care. They're good. They're okay. They're right. They're all right. And that's where this man was. He was but inside. Because you read it with me last week. What lack I yet? I've done all that. He knew it when he approached Jesus. He knew he did all that. What lack I? And so I think the disciples are sitting here going, well, darn. If he can't go, there's no way we're going. There's no way anybody's going. And I love Jesus' answer, right? I think I've put that to bed, right? It's hard to enter in with riches, and that's not just money. It's just no perceived need. And so, verse 26, and Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. There's something inherent in I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. There's something inherent in that phrase. Anybody know what it is? It's okay. It's through Christ. Brother Joe's been showing up like nobody's business. I appreciate it too. Yeah. Somebody would say sarcasm. Jesus never used sarcasm. I think Jesus used sarcasm. I think Paul used sarcasm. And it makes me and Miss Magnum feel so good about ourselves. And so sarcasm was the first language. I'm English as a second language person because sarcasm was first. But anyway, we have Jesus sitting there. He did. He beheld them. I think you're right. He looked at him for a minute and went, like earlier, like in another passage, have I been so long with you? If that's not sarcasm, I don't know what is. But have I been so long with you? You don't understand? He's looking at him right here going, yeah, I know that one's debatable. But so anyway, he's like, he beholds him. But anyway, back to Philippians 4:13 real quick. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Brother Joe nailed it, through Christ. What is also, you got to go a little further though, that through Christ, what's inherent? I'm talking about it. What's inherent in the idea of Philippians 4:13 through Christ? What's inherent in that? I have to see a need. Yeah, it cannot be conflicted with what Jesus wants. I can't be Tim Tebow and point at the sky whenever I make a touchdown, and say Jesus gave me the strength to do that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did. What if he gave the guy on the other team the strength? I don't know. And I don't know that God throws himself down into the football game too much, honestly. Yeah. So, but through Christ is the inherent thought process, and that is, I can't. I have a need. I'm supposed to, Philippians 4:8 is a command to you. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things be of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, 4:8, 8 things, think on these things. What? Have anybody ever had a bad thought in your head? No, Miss Magnan. Anybody else had? The rest of us have. And racing thoughts that are wrong. They're called in the psychology world ants, right? Automatic negative thoughts. I told you not long ago that the neuroscience says that probably 80% of everything that comes in your head is false in some way. That's a lot of mess in there. We talk about how men have boxes and ladies have spaghetti. But the truth of the matter is, we're all messy. All right? It's just runaway lies. I like that. And so I can imagine the meme that Jim and I can put for that one. But but the point I'm trying to get across to you is, if I'm going to, and let me turn over there. Let me just turn over there. Because there's more to it than that, isn't there? There is. Philippians 4:13. But just prior to that, verse 11. Or verse 10, I rejoice in the Lord greatly, right? Paul's in poverty, Paul's in trouble, and the Philippians who were poor themselves sent money. He rejoiced in the Lord. He said, not that I speak in respect of one, I have learned whatsoever state I am, Texas or Oklahoma, I don't know how to be content in Oklahoma, but whatsoever state I am, Philippians 4:11 right now. I'm sorry, I got to slow down. Miss Maria told me that, and y'all are always giving me the eyeballs to slow down, and I struggle with it. But whatsoever state I am, therewith to be what? Content. Abased, abound, full, hungry. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I can do all things what? I can do all things like I can succeed in my business? No. I can do all things like I can have peace. In verse number 5, my moderation can be in the Lord. I can be careful or fearful of nothing. I can have peace with God. He can keep my heart. I can think on good things, pure things, that HEPA filter that says, you say, well, it is true, so it fits. Well, is it lovely and true? Then it doesn't fit. I can rejoice. I can abound. I can be content where I'm at. I can do those things through Christ, which strengthens me. I have to see my need. Paul says he had a thorn in the flesh, remember? And he said, I have a thorn in the flesh, and it was killing me, basically, messenger of Satan. And he said, I asked God 3 times. I'm ignoring that one. I asked God 3 times to remove it from me, and God said, no, I'm not removing it from you. You're going to learn. I'm paraphrasing a lot here. You're going to learn to trust in me in the need. Paul had to go 3 times through that thorn of flesh to realize, oh, I've got a need that that nothing's going to help. And so he said, I decided I'd rather, I can't even remember the reference right now even, but he said, I'll rather take joy in infirmities, because when I'm weak, Christ is strong, right? And praise the Lord for that. So what is, Jesus looks at him and says, with men, it's impossible. Your anxiety, you're never going to get through it. That's hope from a preacher, sorry. Your anxiety, you're never going to get through it. The grief we suffered in November, never going to get through that. Never. It's impossible. Pleasing God in my Christian walk? Nope. Not possible. The anxiety, the negative thoughts, the marital issues that you have, the kids that are acting dumb. Guess what? Welcome to the club. Kids act dumb. The kids that are acting dumb, right? And if you think you've got a corner on that market, there are many, many parents in here whose kids are breaking their hearts, right? We're in a generation, I'm just telling you. It is impossible. But, I have fidget stuff. But, with God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible. Isn't that great? You know that loved one that you're praying that they'll get saved, but it's impossible? Your addicted family or friend, can never get clean. It's impossible. They've tried and tried and tried. AA, NA, BA, DA, I don't know. They've tried, the district attorneys tried to get them out, the DA, and they've tried everything, and it just doesn't work. It's impossible. You're right. But with God, it's not. I praise the Lord for that. There's some hope in there with that. Now, I'm sure that it's just like, wow. Now, Peter, of course, he hasn't even gotten over it yet. As Peter says, Peter thinks. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? Did you miss the whole point? Yes. Have you ever missed the whole point? I mean, I sit across the desk in counseling with some people sometimes. They miss the whole point. All of it. Every bit of it. They missed it. I've preached truths to the church. Great, amazing truths to the church. And then a guest speaker comes in and preaches the same truth. And I don't care who it clicks with. I don't care. But finally it's like, poof, mind blown. That's such an amazing truth, and their life changes. I'm happy. I'm not jealous. I used to be jealous. I don't care anymore. Light bulb came on. Finally got it. Peter ain't got it yet. What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? He did this at the very end of Jesus' ministry too. Remember, Jesus says, "Hey, follow me, follow me, follow me," or feed my sheep. Sorry, feed my sheep, feed my sheep, feed my sheep. And Peter's like, "Oh, yeah. Hey, what about John?" Come on now, Peter. He eventually got it. I think after Paul took him by the lapels and shook him. I think we don't hear anything bad after that, so that's probably where it happened. But Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that have forsaken houses or brethren, now see, he put the caveat in here. See, because following Jesus isn't easy. I don't like this verse, especially right now, because I've got one son in heaven and one living hell right now, just making his own choices. He says, every one of you that forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother, or wife or children or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And he says, Peter, and we're going to finish the chapter. I'm proud of that. It's exciting. He said, Peter, listen. Following me is not even what you understand yet. There's going to be more to it. There's law. You know why we follow Jesus? For gain. Where's my banner? Prove me wrong. We'll follow Jesus for gain. I want my marriage better. I want my kids back. I want my own self to go to heaven. I want peace in my life. I want freedom from my anxiety. Why do you come to church? For those things. Why do you follow Jesus, quote unquote, for those things? And Jesus said, no, it's not always going to be that way. There's going to be a hard times too. There's going to be loss too. There's going to be family that don't understand. When my wife got saved, she went and told her dad she got saved, and he said, "You fell for that nonsense?" When my biological father, I heard the story, some years ago, but when my biological father got saved at a revival when my mom and him were teenagers, he got saved. He went home to his materialistic, humanistic father and said, "Dad, guess what happened to me at this revival?" And he said, "Drop it or I'll drop you." And that was the end of my dad's salvation experience. And and one of those two individuals said, "Okay, I'm sorry," and followed Jesus, and the other one said, "Okay, I'm sorry," and followed their dad. I love my dad. I don't see him much. He's not really in my life, but I don't know why. He's just some kind of genetic thing, but I love him, and it doesn't matter how he's been to me. It doesn't matter. Just love him anyway. And my heart aches for him. I've talked to him here and there about Christ. He got the gospel at Saber's funeral, I'll tell you that right now. I think my pastor was probably staring him in the eyeball. But anyway, no, nobody knew who he was. My mom didn't even recognize him. But anyway, so I'm just saying, and I'll stop. We could mine it, but I'll stop and say this. If you're going to follow the Lord, it's going to be hard. Why did Jesus tell that one guy, if any man put his hand to the plow and turn it back again, he's not fit for the kingdom of heaven? Why? Because you will joyfully put your hand to Jesus' plow. But when the rocks show up in the field, it's when it gets hard. And when the field's tough. I don't know if you've ever broken ground in East Texas. As a person who grew up in East Texas, you don't break ground in East Texas with anything. You got to have a pickaxe with you, a water hose with you, a shovel, and you got to water the ground to soften it up, and then you got to pickaxe through all the roots. It's just the way it is. And sometimes serving for the Lord is not easy. I'm not trying to discourage you. No, I'm trying to give you a reality check so that when you get up in the morning you say, "Man, this is hard," I can say, "Yeah, it is hard." And it's also glorious. It's also wonderful. I've seen some of the most amazing, wonderful things as a Christian. I've watched God do some amazing, wonderful things as a Christian. But I've also had the devil against me at times. And I've also lived like the devil against me at times. But God is good. So I want to encourage you. What do we get from following the Lord? Well, there's eternity. But on this side of it, there might be some hardship and trial and difficulty. And if you're not ready for it, it's going to trip you up. It's going to cause you problems. Let's go ahead and pray. I want to remind you, for now, I've sought the Lord about it, and just for now, we're doing our prayer time on Sunday nights, right? And so we're not going to do prayer time on Wednesday nights. We're going to do this on Wednesday nights and just kind of let you get home while you have a few minutes of daylight and while we're roasting in here. It's come down a little bit since y'all quit singing, so I don't know. Maybe on Wednesday nights we don't do song service. I'm just kidding. I love singing so much. And so, bring your... I'll pick who I don't want breathing out. Just hold your breath for the service time. It's okay. But anyway, I hope that's been helpful to you. It's helpful to me. I just wanted everything to be perfect in my life after I found Jesus. I mean, it wasn't. And I got discouraged. And God had to slap me around every once in a while. And then here's my life before the Lord. I feel like the tracks are finally on the cat, right? We're finally tracking forward, Bobcat. And we're finally tracking forward. We're finally going well, and everything's going good. And next thing I know, I got something going wrong again. Some yellow light, some red light going wrong. And it's probably because if I didn't, I'd have pride because I have an issue with that. But I'm just telling you, it's going to be tough sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. Jesus said, when you're weak, I'm here. He said, you can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. That anxiety, why don't you go get some help for it? Because you don't see the need. I can go get a pill and it's over. I can watch a show and it's over. I can read a book and it's over. You give me a book, I don't think about the world for the time I'm in it, right? And it's over. No, I need Jesus. I need the Lord. I don't want to cover up anxiety anymore. I want healing from it. I don't want to cover up my depression anymore. I want healing from it. I fully believe that's possible. Let's go ahead and pray, and we'll let you be dismissed tonight. If you Need anything, call me, let me know. Once again, until this heat breaks, we will not meet on Saturday for official door handing out track thing, because I don't want to die, and I don't want you to die on my watch. And so when I was younger, gung-ho, everything like that, and now anymore, if I look outside, I'm going to quit rambling. We're not doing it. Pick up a bundle of tracks, go to Walmart or something, hand them out, and have a good time. What's that? Yeah, exactly. Or you got some AC. Because even walking from my car into Walmart about takes my breath out of me. And so I'm sensitive anymore. Dear Father, we love you. And Father, I pray that you help us. Two things tonight, really, I guess. Father, help us to see our needs, not be spoiled in our hearts, and not think that we got money, we can fix it. Or we got resources, we can fix it. But go to you and trust